Hi, my name is Guy Yalif, and I'm the CEO of Intellimize. And for the last several years, I've been putting AI in the hands of marketers to drive more revenue, more leads to sales, and more new customers. For me, that journey started years ago when I coded a rules-based expert system to design airplanes in college. I've been a marketer and a product manager and in paid media for the last 15 years, helping marketers across industries while at Twitter, Yahoo, and Brightroll. My team and I believe that AI can help each one of us accelerate our careers, deliver more for our businesses, and get a lot more done. And in this talk, we'll talk about the different kinds of AI that matter to us as growth marketers and how they might fit into our efforts. We're not going to go into math or formulas. And instead, by the end of this session, you'll be able to identify the different branches of the AI tree, be able to ask better questions of your in-house or vendor machine learning team, and get more out of your AI investment. If you have questions, please engage me on Twitter at Gyalif, Gyalif, with this event's hashtag, A/B Testing Summit. Let's get started. What is AI? AI is generally defined as machines doing things that we as humans would consider intelligent. While for some, this might conjure up images of Terminator movies, turns out AI is already part of your daily life. It's all around you. Through the companies on this screen, AI is helping us avoid spam emails, figure out how long it'll take to get to work, write more grammatically correct emails. Why? What's AI good at? Turns out it's good at a particular set of things that can be very helpful to us as we engage customers online. Anyone have a guess about what these numbers mean? Well, they represent examples of the kinds of things AI is really well suited to do. First, AI is great at managing a lot at once, an awful lot. 4.5 billion is the number a great B2B growth hacker, Guillaume Cabane, shared recently when he said, hey, this is the number of versions of a page I'm managing on a site using AI. It's superhuman, and it helped him drive great results. AI can also massively accelerate testing. 25 is the number of years worth of A/B testing our average customer happens to have done last year. That kind of acceleration can help your team deliver more revenue and insights to your business. Unlike us humans who get tired and distracted, AI is really great at listening 24/7 and taking action in the moment 24/7. 4 is the number of hours it took AI to react when a customer of ours ran a big promotion, significantly increasing their traffic. Turns out this new traffic behaved differently. The right answer itself changed in the moment. Finally, AI is really good at acting with great precision at superhuman levels of granularity. It's great at finding signal in a noisy environment and acting on it. 1 is the size of the segment that AI can optimize for. And in fact, these 4 strengths put together enable the one-to-one marketing that we as marketers have been talking about forever. It can be practically achieved today when we correctly apply AI. Today. So these 4 things are what AI is great at. What problems is AI not as good at solving? Well, turns out AI is not the end-to-end solution for us as marketers, and in particular, I'll focus on website optimization. For example, to do conversion rate optimization well, there are 3 sets of things we need to do. 1, customer intimacy. We need to understand and empathize with prospects and existing customers. 2, ideation. We have creative work to do in designing variations to connect our products or services into our prospects' day-to-day needs. And 3, management. We have to build and manage experiments. And to date, AI's been good at managing a lot at once, but not particularly great at creativity or empathy. We as growth professionals are uniquely suited to drive customer intimacy and ideation, thanks to human empathy and creativity. Now, where can we use AI today practically? Turns out it's available throughout the funnel today. Our peers in paid advertising have been using AI out in the open for more than a decade. You know, when Google says, hey, give me 5 search ad creatives, not 1, and I'll figure out which one to show each individual searcher to maximize the probability of a click, they're using AI to do that automatically. There are other practical examples of AI in use today. Persado is one example of a company that's using AI to craft more engaging email subject lines. For B2B growth professionals mid-funnel, Madkudu and Infer are training models to predict the value of a lead so that higher value leads can get more personal attention. Towards the bottom of the funnel, Drift and Intercom have enabled marketers to set up rules to engage prospects in real time as they visit your website. Optimizely has similarly enabled audiences with A/B testing to create rules for what to show visitors. And Intellimize, my company, happens to use machine learning to automatically pick the right variations to show each visitor, kind of like Google and Facebook ads, but for websites. Now, this list is by no means exhaustive, not even close, but it helps illustrate some of the topics we want to cover. And so you can see AI is pervasive and growing in your personal life. It's also increasingly widespread in your professional life. So which kind of AI is right for you? Well, I'll try to answer that question in the context of website optimization. Using AI on your website can deepen your relationship with your prospects and customers. Which kind should you use? Well, there are different kinds of AI and different ways scientists would categorize them. I'm going to focus on just a couple of AI specifics that I think we need to know to make better choices to grow our businesses and our websites. As I said earlier, AI can help you drive more engagement with your prospects, and the way we often do that today is with A/B testing. This is probably familiar to most of the people on the phone or on this webinar, where when we do A/B testing, we set up a 50-50 traffic split. We look every day at reporting, and we call a winner when we reach statistical significance and make data-driven decisions. It's great because we're doing data-driven decision-making, but it puts all the work on us. All the execution happens with us, and it assumes also that the right answer doesn't change over time. The end result? A winner to show everyone. However, roughly 80% of the A/B tests that are run today don't produce an answer, and they typically take a couple of months to run. That could be expensive for our orgs. Some of us might then ask ourselves, well, is my audience really all the same? Is the best thing to show one prospect the same as the best thing to show another? We often then turn to AI and begin laying out rules. Some of your team may have already started using rules-based AI. When we're able to identify a segment in advance, and that's an important caveat, we can then start creating rules for our system to follow. For example, if somebody's located in San Francisco, you can show them the Northern California promotion. And this can be great, this rules-based approach, because we can show experiences on our website that are more likely to drive conversions. We're not treating everyone the same. A rules-based approach can be particularly useful when one audience absolutely cannot see something that's okay for another audience to see, like this NorCal promotion. Would not be okay to show that to someone in Texas, given that it's targeted at NorCal. Now, many of us intuitively as growth professionals would say, this isn't AI, but most data scientists would disagree. And most personalization companies who say they're doing AI today are doing what you see on screen, rules-based optimization. There are many examples of this throughout the marketing funnel today, like email marketing drip campaigns, chat bots, some forms of content recommendation, some ad retargeting, some forms of lead scoring. Now, in this context, we as growth professionals, we say, hey, this worked, I want more lift. So we go and create more rules. And they typically take the same form of zooming in on a particular audience or page or context, and then showing them a specific experience, like a particular message, offer, or image. Now, we start this and we quickly realize that we want a lot more rules because we want a lot more lift. For example, if we only created a rule for every city in the United States, we'd have 35,000 rules. We'd then need to maintain these rules over time as we learned more over time. In practice, most of the marketers I know top out at a few tens of rules. Now, rules-based AI in this context is better than A/B testing because you're giving people experiences for their segment, but it's brittle and doesn't scale. Now, when do you typically use rules-based optimization? One was the business rule we were talking about before, where an audience can see one thing, but they can't see another. Two, it actually could be a simple way to test out ideas before you try machine learning, which we'll talk about next. Typical ways to implement rules-based optimization is either using A/B testing tools and adding audiences, or doing rules-based personalization, which is what most people are doing today, in particular when they say they're doing AI. Or three, using an expert system, which is something that was built specifically to handle a bunch of rules. This happens to be a paper about the expert system I wrote a whole long time ago, back in college. Now, if you want to then go do more and personalize further and optimize further, you then might use machine learning. In this kind of AI, a machine learns based on experience and predicts the right answer going forward. This begins with data. Be thoughtful about how much data you need and what data is involved. Some machine learning approaches require Google levels of traffic or lots of really expensive third-party data, and others don't. Make sure you have enough of the right kind of data to make your model successful. Second, a model is trained to make predictions about the future. You want to make sure you've got the right kind of model for the problem you're trying to solve. For example, Madkudu's model to predict lead scores is really different than the model you need to automate A/B tests and optimize websites. Finally, the model, once trained, makes a prediction about the future, hopefully driving revenue. You want to make sure your model is putting the learnings it's getting every time it's trained into use frequently, ideally consistently. This prediction is then shown to visitors who take action and create more data to learn from. Now, what do you get if you take this approach? Well, the machine learning approach can, in effect, auto-generate a zillion rules for you, auto-discover segments for you, and auto-update those rules and segments as things change. If you apply AI in the right way, it can help you accelerate your conversion rate optimization. There are many uses for machine learning today. Examples include some form of content recommendations, some forms of lead scoring, predictive personalization, and audience lookalike modeling. Now, I share these approaches, manual, rules-based, and machine learning, because I think this bit of AI theory has practical implications for us as marketers. Given these three approaches, what are marketers optimizing with AI today? Well, here's one example. Perkville is a SaaS company that creates loyalty programs for its customers. They wanted to drive more social referrals, but they had less than 2,000 page views a day to work with. My hunch is a lot of the B2B marketers here can identify with that. Over time, they used AI to test 39 different ideas on their send referral page because they were trying to drive more referrals to their loyalty programs. I would send one out, you might accept it and become a customer. If you multiply out all the versions of the page that those 39 ideas created, there were 633,000 versions of the page. Think about that. That's years worth of A/B testing at that volume. But using AI helped accelerate learning for them. Perkville was able to realize 42% lift with 99% statistical significance in 2 months. How? With AI, Perkville was able to test multiple ideas at the same time. This is similar to how multivariate tests are run, but unlike multivariate tests, AI won't run equal traffic to each combination of ideas. AI was also able to tease out the impact of each individual element, allowing Perkville to learn more from every impression and automatically show the higher performing variations more often and starve the losers and the lower performers of traffic. AI can really accelerate your testing. Now, while Perkville had a lot to manage with 39 ideas on one page, another e-commerce company had even more to manage across their site. Stella & Dot is a business that enables women to run their own businesses by selling jewelry, hosting sales events, and buying online. They have 3 different audiences, each with their own needs and associated goals. And here we'll focus on the work in the classic e-commerce funnel. Their marketing team began where the money is, down at the bottom of the funnel. On the cart page, they tried a bunch of different ideas, enough that there were more than 400 versions of the page running at a time. A bunch of ideas contributed to driving 52% lift from cart to checkout. Which idea had the biggest impact? It wasn't what any of us expected. This idea on its own would not have driven the 52, but it was the biggest single contributor. Turns out it wasn't, adding another call to action. It wasn't adding similar items here on the page. Turns out it was this. It was emotionally affirmative language in the moment of somebody going to buy. This looks great on you. Good choice. You've got great taste. For this audience in this moment, that was the right thing to do. None of us could have predicted that, or none of us did at least. And you got to love data-driven optimization. Now, with this win, the team said, all right, I'm going to go up funnel. I'm going to look at my product detail page. And here they tried a bunch of different ideas too. They had more than 300 versions of this page running and drove 8% additional add to bags. Which one idea had the biggest impact among a bunch that contributed? Turns out it was having this ordering widget stay present on the page as their visitors scroll down. It used to scroll right off the top of the page. The marketing team then moved further up funnel to drive overall engagement. They used an existing site-wide banner, this right here. They tried 25 different versions of this text, and to everyone's surprise, this drove 400% lift in engagement across their 3 funnels. Now, Stella and Dot couldn't do all this in a reasonable amount of time without AI. They had more than 700 versions of pages just for one part of one flow for one audience. They were managing 3 completely different audiences with 3 completely different sets of goals. For example, filling more baskets and increasing basket size is a completely different goal than signing up stylists and hosts. For them, having AI was like having an army of analysts helping them manage an awful lot at once. I hope these examples bring to life concrete ways AI can help us as people growing businesses. Now, what data makes all of this possible? We typically find our prospects and our customers for their prospects using 3 different kinds of data. One is demographic or firmographic data. You know, if you're B2C, is this a man or a woman? How much money do they make? Do they have kids in the home? Where do they live? If you're B2B, how many employees are there? How much revenue does this company make? Second is contextual. Where are they? What time of day is it? What day of the week is it? There are a lot of things that tie to, even for B2B customers, am I in the office or am I at home on the weekend? You can also see where did they come from? What kind of device are they on? And third is behavioral data. What have they done on my site before? Have they expressed interest in a particular category or a particular product or a behavior that we can complement again? What can you do with these kinds of data? Here are just a couple of ideas. You could, for example, if you're B2B, use firmographic data to stoke competitive juices among your prospects and show a sprinkling of this prospect's competitors' logos on the site. Like if I show up and I'll make it up, I'm Southwest Airlines. I might see JetBlue, United, and then some non-airline logos on the site. I might show an industry-specific case study. We'll see another airline case study. And I might try to have my higher value prospects, because someone did predictive lead scoring, directed to sales. And my lower value prospects, I'll direct them to self-serve. That's one set of things you can do. Another set, you might take context and behavioral data and say, oh gosh, for a prospect, I want them, in this example, to register for newsletter. And over time, maybe they can download something from the App Store, download our app. For existing customers, they've already signed up for the newsletter. I'm going to put this front and center. We actually had a customer do this. They drove 430% lift in-app installs. This particular thing wasn't rocket science. It was a thoughtful use of data that met prospects where they were in their experience with this company. Lastly, you can use behavioral data to simply remember what somebody's done before. For example, you may show them, hey, here are the items you've recently viewed. Or you may say, oh, you bought this product before. Do you want to buy it again? It's often not that hard to implement, but it reflects a philosophy of meeting customers where they are in their journey with you. My hope is these sprinkling of ideas and 3 buckets of data help spark ideas for you about how you might better feed your AI when you're back in the office on Monday. Now, each of these 3 approaches we've talked about have different cost-benefit trade-offs, and they're strong in different situations. If you're doing A/B testing, you know that your investment includes having creative ideas to test and checking roughly daily about how things are going and maintaining your experiments. And if things go well, you've got a great data-driven experience for your entire audience. This solution's ideal when you can have one and only one winner. A typical example might be you've got two different sign-up flows, each built on a completely different technology. You're not going to maintain both of them, even if that would produce better lift. There will only be one. If you're using rules-based AI, what do you need to put in? A bunch of creative ideas, and you have to invest in a bunch of rules up front. You need to know also that someone arriving at your site is in a certain segment to set this up in advance. In return, if things work well, you get a great experience for each segment of your audience that you can define. You can further refine that experience with A/B testing within the segment. The more work you put in defining rules and segments, the more you have a chance to drive more conversions. Finally, if you're using machine learning, then you need to focus on empathizing with your prospects and creatively coming up with variations. In fact, depending on the type of machine learning you're using, the better off you are at creating more ideas at a faster pace, the more lift you're likely to see, because this gives the system more opportunities to match the right variation with each individual visitor. The results, if things are working well, you get a great experience for each unique visitor. When is AI not right for you? A couple of situations we generally suggest not using AI, in addition to most empathy and creativity. Reason number one, when you've got other hard work to do that's not AI related or already has a super clear signal. For example, if your startup is early enough that you don't have product market fit, go find your fit. Go do the hard work with prospects. Don't use AI. Or if churn for your business is truly awful across the board, chances are you've got hard work to do in the core product. AI isn't the answer yet. In these cases, the answer is obvious, and AI can be particularly strong when the answer isn't super obvious because you've already knocked down the obvious things. Reason number two, you're getting like 10 page views or 10 conversions a day. If so, typical data-driven marketing approaches probably won't work for you. AI can work on less volume than you think, but there is a realistic floor. A decent rule of thumb that balances getting results quickly with wanting to use AI more is probably 1,000 page views a day. Below that, you still get advantages of AI, but don't hold your breath waiting for results. It'll take a little while. Third reason not to use AI, if you don't have anyone who can think about website optimization for at least part of their job, if that's the thing you're trying to solve with AI, then adding AI to the effort won't solve the problem. AI provides leverage, but it doesn't replace sharp minds, either internal or external agency, thinking about prospects and coming up with creative ideas. So as you consider using AI, I suggest you think about a few questions when you get back to the office on Monday. I suggest you take a hard look at your testing efforts and answer these questions if you want to be more competitive going forward. One, is my audience all the same? And if you answered yes, I ask you, really? It's like saying the average shoe size for men in the US is 10 and a half. So we're going to offer 10 and a half shoes to every male in the audience. Sounds silly with shoes, but it's what you're doing if you believe your audience's behavior is all the same. Two, what's my testing velocity? Do you know how many tests you do a week or a month? What if you wanted to significantly increase that number? What would that do for you and your business? Three, do I know when behaviors change? Do you believe your prospect's behavior today is the same as it was a month or a year ago? If not, were you able to see the change? If so, were you able to react? And four, are you able to deliver the right experiences to each person? What would it take for you to do that? What would that give you in terms of conversion rate lift? I believe AI represents an opportunity for each one of us. It can be a superpower for us, enabling our teams to deliver more revenue and customers, drive more insights, and accelerate our career growth in turn. Rather than threatening our jobs like that Terminator metaphor earlier, AI is a great complement to our jobs. And I believe the opportunity to differentiate on it is now. Roll the clock forward a few years, AI will be pervasive in optimization. Why? Not because I believe it, but because there's simply too much money sitting in this approach. So if you like having an army of analysts helping you manage a lot at once, try AI. I know some of you may be saying, hey, can I be ready for machine learning yet without having mastered A/B testing? And my answer to you is an emphatic yes, because machine learning will automate some of the rote mechanics you need to execute in other approaches. For us as practitioners, it's actually simpler. So I invite you to go out there and harness the power of AI to advance your business and your career. Go test more, go learn more, go deliver better results. If you have questions, please engage me. I'll be here while this is going on Twitter @GYalif. Please use the hashtag for the event, hashtag AB Testing Summit, and I hope you found this useful. Thanks for joining me, and talk to you soon.